Hey YouTube, Dread Joker here, and today we're going to be taking a look at one of my older master grades, the Dom, from the original Gundam anime. Starting off, we're going to take a quick look at this manual, because I immediately have to correct its grammar. I don't really have a problem with it. Mobile Suit MS-09 Dom, Principality of Zeon, and right after this we have a problem. Mass productive. Does this mean it does a lot of stuff, or it's good at producing mass? I'm sorry, this needs clarification. Bandai, please let me know if you intended this to be mass production and there was just an error, because this is gonna be a joke. Mass productive. When you see the size of this thing, more specifically the size of its lower body, yeah, this is probably going to be true. Mass productive. And you know what I'm talking about here. Mobile suit. Fine. Okay. In the community, there are some people who had some major problems with this. And I'm going to open this manual up to the pages where, number one, this manual is not spelled out very well at all. This is a jumbled freaking mess. But everybody, I believe, is reading this left to right. This manual is designed to be read right to left. More specifically, right down, left down. Being said, I think it was designed to be read like this. But right here, everybody has a problem with these hands for the fingers, because this does have, for a kit from 1999, I think this was the first one to do individual articulated fingers. This is very, very touchy. So what you need to pay attention here is when you're assembling it, you want A8 and A11. If you misassemble these fingers will rocket apart. Because A8 and A11, on one side there's a tab and on one side there's a peg. Or a peg and a hole, whatever. It goes one way and one way only. Just do it one side at a time and only do that for the hand. Just do that, you'll be fine for the hands. The shoulders and elbows are very different, to put it gently. But all in all, you end up with a nice package. And this thing does have a nice set of runners. It has a ridiculous number for an old kit. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 counting the giant, oversized, unpainted figure of Ortega that it comes with. So, Black TriStars fans, I don't know how you get the other two. I assume one of them comes with the Rick Dom, and the only difference between these two, this is the ground version, by the way. The Dom is the ground version, the Rick Dom is the space version. The ground Dom includes a machine gun, and 2 bazookas, and 2 Sturmfausts, and 2 extra magazines. The space version includes 2 bazookas, and I think that's it. Also, it has a lot more thrusters, so basically the space version is Char's version, essentially. Not counting this, you're going to have a bunch of leftover polycaps, and this is where I want to point out the manual again. This section down here, before they started Xing out the ones you do not use, this is what denotes all the leftover parts. This was changed for a reason. Bandai, I know you're not very keen on redoing the manuals. Can you please just reprint this one page and update the manual? If you just did this one thing, or better yet, reprinted the whole manual to be a little less confusing to the average builder, that would be fantastic. Now, throwing this manual to the side, we're going to go to the actual kit itself finally. This thing is very bulky, but it's very good. I do like this very much. It has very unique proportions, and the nubs aren't very bad. I have done basically no sanding on this, and by basically I mean I don't sand anything because the last time I used sandpaper, it caught fire. Yeah. I don't know all the tools to use, but I do use my nippers, and I do use some blades to file it down with. And as you can see, just looking at it from the top, if you're just looking at it from the top, you're going to see a couple of marks, but that's really it. The black does not mark. The purple, on the other hand, is a little hinky. As for stickers, this kit says for you to use quite a few of them. Specifically, it asks you to use, in the assembly, just these pink ones. I said no. What I did was I took a red Sharpie, or no. I normally use a red Sharpie. For this one, I used the red metallic Gundam marker, and then I put silver behind it on the pegs. This worked out very well, and especially here, I just put silver down behind this clear part, which is supposed to be clear yellow. This, whenever you apply silver behind it, it catches the light and reflects it back through. Without it, this clear section here is very drab. It's very unenthusiastic. It's me on Mondays, or in the mornings. But as for looks, this is 100% what you get. It is a very, very bulky kit. If you were expecting a slim model, you clearly have never seen the Dom in combat. As for articulation, the head can go side to side. Not very far, but the mono eye, which can move, it is on a ball joint in there, so you have to take the head apart somewhat to get at it. You just take the upper section of the head off. And there is a nice clear bit in here, and I apologize if there's fingerprints all over this thing. Cleaning clear parts is a nightmare. It is on a ball joint. It moves that far, up, and down. So it moves enough to cover the basics. I kind of wish they had figured the mono eye section out at the time, because I would love to have seen the mono eye from the Zaku 2, at least the 2.0 one, done back at this point and be able to rotate. If it looks down, it looks down. If it looks up, it looks up. I would have loved to have seen that. At the same time, I know that's an engineering nightmare. For accessories, he's carrying, let's say, a third of what he normally has. He's got the heat saber, which just slides in on his back, and let's just rotate this around. The backpack, very nicely done. However, if you are a customizer and you want to change the backpack out, well, you kinda can't. You'll have to sand over, you have to cut all this out and fill this whole thing over, and even then, this panel does not want to stay on without this piece. This piece is the only thing holding this panel on other than friction. That being said, if you do know what you're doing, you can remove this peg, which is ridiculously long, and you might be able to make some kind of add-on. I don't know, full armor unicorn a Dom. If it worked for the unicorn, it can work for a Dom. But for the tab back here itself, it has an opening panel here, which it recommends opening. You don't have to. You can just slide the sword out. The heat sword is very good. I'm going to say that. It's a different type of material. It's somewhat flexible, somewhat not. So don't do the hot water treatment on this. It's not going to work well. Getting him to hold the sword is just as easy as this. Open the hands, which are, oh, I forgot how tight these hands are. I think I see the other part of the problem. Just be slow with his hands. Just be slow with the Dom. It wasn't exactly known for being fast anyways, even when Char was piloting it in the manga, or the MSV catalog. Whatever it was that his thing was, I think the MSV catalog, it didn't even go that fast for him. Getting the Dom to hold the sword, no problem at all. And if you're wondering how reactive it was under a black light or under a blue light, as soon as I find where I put the light, the answer is not very. It doesn't really want to glow, it doesn't really want to react or do anything, it just wants to be a piece of yellow plastic. Which I would have shown, but I lost my light. Articulation. Just getting his accessory out of him real quick, and let's just slot it back in so I don't lose it. Articulation for the upper body is, so we started with the head, just basic stuff, no problems there. I mean, it's a Dom, it wasn't exactly a full 360 guy anyways. Upper arms could be better, just right here. I'm not a fan of this connection, but everything else is pretty much fine. Ball jointed shoulders, but no real forwards or back. And this is going to be continued because they did recently reuse this mold for the P. Bandai Dwaj and the Dwaj Kai that are set to come out pretty soon. The Dwaj is already out. The Dwaj Kai I personally recommend getting versus the standard Dwaj, unless you're going to repaint the Dwaj into its desert type colors for Unicorn, unless it already comes in them. I never saw a Double Zeta, so. The elbow bends first up here at this joint. This is a weird one. Then it bends at the lower joint for way more than 90. And as you can see, he's got some pretty big hands. This guy face palms you, you're going to need a new head. Hands are very weird. This is a very wonky style hand. I've never seen this one before again. So on the hands, and my camera's jutting around because I may have over-tightened my tripod, has these weird reverse pegs in them, where the pegs have to come from the weapon and go into the hands. These are only used on its rocket launchers. More specifically, rocket launcher. The other one does not have this. The other one has a mini peg. Getting the tripod repositioned here. The colors are fairly good. It's fairly basic. It's very anime accurate. Let's zoom back out. The arm can do a full unrestricted 360 depending on which way the heat saber is going. The entire upper body is on a double ball joint system, so this is weird. Also, getting this cockpit to open is not easy. Every time I have gotten this open, it was either with nippers or a knife. It is that tight. Also, you can barely see this, depending on which way the light's going. When the light's going this way, you can see the outline. This is a weird one. It's a black part with a black outline. Inside is a gray part with a black pilot figure. Just to give you an idea as to what I'm talking about, if you've never seen the pilot figures, it's essentially this. That's the color separation we're talking about here. But it has to go back into a little alcove. I wish they would have thought this out and maybe made this a purple suit pilot figure, but being the black TriStars and all, I really guess that's asking a lot. Getting the... And this is... I appreciate when Bandai did these. These were nice figures. They were nice little shelf ones if you wanted to have a nice little display outside your suit. These are not to scale by any definition of the word. This thing is knee-high to a suit that was, if memory serves, 19 meters tall. So that would make Ortega the tallest man alive. Nobody try to feed him, he'll wipe out a colony. Again. But moving back to the articulation, the double ball joint system I mentioned gives him this really good side-to-side articulation that you rarely ever see. He can also do the full rocking rotation with the ball joints, upper and lower. Going forward completely seals off the cockpit. You are never going to get this open. To get it actually open all the way, you have to bring it all the way back like it's about to catch a volleyball or something, or it's going long. Legs. I'd say they're a brick, but a brick doesn't bend this much. From the side, let me just say one thing. This thing has freaking Sotheby-style legs and the biggest footprint I have ever seen short of a perfect grade. Seriously, if this thing decides to kick you in the butt or decides to plant its foot firmly where the sun don't shine, you're going to need a new lower body. But that's entirely dependent on it getting its leg that high in the first place. This brings me to the maximum range of the hips. Backwards is pretty decent. Forwards. Can you see the problem here? Forwards, you're looking at a max bend of maybe 50 degrees. It's not like this by itself. The main problem here is that the armor on the inside is incredibly bulky near the front, and these front skirts are not helping, despite the fact that they go further than the legs do. That being said, the maximum knee bend, looking at about 90 degrees, these are annoying to build. Everything about this kit, the end result is fine. A is fine, B is fine. The journey between A to B is a nightmare. It's like getting derailed and being laid off at the same time. Ankles. Very good ankles. It goes ridiculously far forward for something this bulky. Now, I wouldn't be when it comes to the Dom, and the fact that this is not very mobile, I am not going to hold this against it. In the anime, we never see the Doms walking. The Dom is always known for sliding on the ground, and I believe it's due to the fact that its legs weigh so much that if it picks one up, it's going to fall over. For accessories, other than the Heat Saber, which is very well done, holds very well in the hands, we also get the submachine gun, or maybe this is the machine. At any rate, we get this awesome gun. This is exclusive to the regular Dom, this version, not the Rick Dom. Everybody needs to get that clear. This version has the machine gun. No other kit has this, to my knowledge. You have a flip-down peg here with a 3mm peg, and if I'm a little condescending, it's because I have to be extra clear on this. There is literally, if you're looking at the front of these things, next to no difference. Everybody I know gets these confused. You have a flip-down peg here with a 3mm peg on it. You also have these removable, and you have to get these all the way up. Move the arms up like he's trying to block something, paparazzi style. Then negotiate with the side skirts, because polycap, peg, very tight. Then you can plug other accessories on here. I personally doubt I will ever use the other accessories with this, other than like the bazooka and what's already on him. Personally, I've always been a fan of the big guy wielding the big machine gun. You also get a detachable magazine with this. Holding the machine gun actually is very easy, since this one accessory any kit can wield technically. It has no pegs of any kind holding it in the hand. Instead, you have to line it up with the trigger finger going solely through there, and it folds over perfectly. When you get the other fingers wrapped around it, this gun ain't going anywhere. Shake test. Upside down. Sideways. Going this way. Dom slides for the victory. It's fine. It ain't dropping it. It's going nowhere. It's perfect. Further accessories that this thing has, although we never saw them, and a lot of Zeon suits from the 90s had these, the original type Sturmfausts. These are alright. Like, if we're talking effectiveness, these were good weapons. If we're talking how they looked on the kit, these are so-so at best. Because they only go in one bay. Take a guess where. They go basically below his armpits, strapped to his hips, the one place you don't want rocket-propelled grenades launching from. Your hips. From the same areas, because the Sturmfausts also include these. These are just deployed variants so that you can remove the peg and, you know, rock it on a stick. You also get these ammo magazines for the gun. These are not removable, technically. They are very hollow. It's just a peg and a ball joint. That's all it is. Very unappealing. However, if you're doing a custom and you just want to have ammo packs up on the shoulders for a high grade or something like that, good for that. The main event when you're getting a Dom is you want big, oversized bazookas. And boy, does it deliver. Gotta actually slide the tray back and to the side. Because this is the standard bazooka. Every version of the Dom comes with this. Once again, silver background, metallic red Gundam marker. It becomes clear. I may have gone a little fuzzy with the silver. Was not exactly planning this out, plus I had to use a Q-tip to get this in there. That's all I had. But getting him to hold the bazookas is, like I said, with the standard one, this is weird. You have this itty-bitty peg in this hand, which you are expected to stick into the slot in his hand. And this is where I really have to stop complimenting the weapons. Because getting him to hold the bazookas, the very weapon that he was designed to carry, is not pleasant. He just doesn't want to hold them, they don't want to align, and when they do, you're generally not going to have all the fingers in the holes. There we go. Now wrap these fingers around, get this up, get the thumb in place, then bring it across. He holds this so-so. The hand, however, looks like he just slammed it in a car door. This bazooka, personally not my favorite, and it's just because I feel that the trigger section is too long and this peg is annoying. Otherwise, decent weapon. Also, for whatever reason, the entire barrel can rotate because it's on a polycap. This confuses me as to why there was no locking point. Moving this aside, we get onto the other exclusive bazooka with this. I do not know if this is the giant bazooka or the other bazooka. This thing had like 5 varieties of bazookas. But this bazooka has a blast shield, also a camera that goes through the blast shield. Ain't that a life. The side of the blast shield has a handle. It's for him to reach over and grab it up. This does not work. No sugarcoating, it does not work. You get a detachable ammo magazine on this one with the same color ammo in there. I kind of wish they had done this in a different color other than a different gray. Like, I wouldn't have even cared if it was purple. But just slot it back together. You only get one magazine, so if you're a person who likes to display their kits and stuff with interchanging magazines, you only get the one, so don't lose it. This one has a proper tab that is designed to interface, and if you may have noticed I detached the shield. That is because getting this peg into this hole around these fingers with that shield on is a bit like trying to cram a Corvette into a doghouse. It's not pleasant. Once you get everything finagled into place, then you can grab the shield bit, and maybe, just maybe, if you're nice enough, and he holds on to his one weapon, the one job I asked him to do, other than stand here and be a Dom. Okay, Dom, I know you don't like me, but don't flip me off. Just cooperate. Cooperate, and I might give you a raise. Would you like a promotion? Would you like your own freaking shelf? Come on. There we go. There's the hole. Then, after negotiating with it, and bargaining, and giving it prime real estate, you might be able to get it in a position where you can negotiate for the shield to be connected. And wouldn't you know it, it's gonna not work again. Because there goes the bazooka! Hey, there we go. It's barely connected, but you know what? I'm calling it a day. It's in there. It's finally holding it. It's very disappointing. I mean, it's a giant bazooka. That's kind of its job. But the cool thing is, because there's no pegs in the other weapons, well, except for the other disappointing bazooka, you can make him double up. The other difference with the Rikdom, which is the space version, if you have not been paying attention, is that it includes the Beam Bazooka. The Beam Bazooka is also included in Char's version of this kit, so it's essentially just a reprint or a recolor. Which begs the question, did Premium Bandai exist back in the 90s? I don't believe it did. If it did, it would definitely be a P Bandai kit. So yeah, getting him all armored up, getting him in a decent pose, pretending he's gonna Michael Bay the universe, or transport weapons from a Cuvée. This is pretty much the only real good pose you're gonna get out of it with the rocket launchers. That being said, after all the complaining I did about this thing, I like this. The journey between A to B almost brought me to tears because, once again, this manual is so horribly spelled out that when you're doing the legs, and I have to show you this, pay very special attention to this section here. Polycap J goes in the top one, and Polycap H goes in the bottom one. I saw this line going through this cap to the bottom one and assumed that this was both J. 45 minutes per leg I spent. Then I had to disassemble 45 minutes of work because I needed Polycap J for the shoulders. Follow my advice. Pay more attention. The majority of this build is very straightforward, as long as you're paying attention. It has thrusters hidden in most places. The armor is fairly easy to remove in sections. Do I recommend this kit to beginners? Absolutely not. This is what I would call an intermediate to expert build. It does not feature an inner frame, but this kit is deceptive only because of its manual. The manual is more confusing than the actual build on this. That being said, Bandai, where's our Rikdom 2? Where's our Domtropin? And by that extension, why have you not remolded this into the freaking Dryson already? It's so easy, you could have done this by now. Would you please get around to doing it? I know that would cause a little extra work on your part. I'd say we're at that point. It's 20 years later. We can crack the R&D book on this maybe and dust off the dust. Maybe wipe away the mold. Give it a spit shine and maybe some orange glow. But yes, long review for a very big kit. This box is huge. This kit is huge. And it's one of the biggest kits I own as far as master grades. It also weighs a hefty pound. Or 3. It'll be outclassed by something I hope to get soon, but what are the odds that Neo Zeong's gonna fall in my lap? If you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything you want to ask me, please leave it down there in the comment section below. I will be more than happy to get back to you when I can. Thank you very much for watching.